The NIH and Dr. Fauci received hundreds of millions of dollars, and there are secret documents from the NIH that exposes them. Now, we have a really good one today, and this is something that I think that the entire world should know about, so feel free to share this all over, all right? So here's something that I've noticed with all the years of experience that I've had covering these topics. Asking any person from the government a yes or no question, it's kind of like asking your kids if they broke the good plates or something like that. You know what I mean? You're never going to hear a straight answer. I mean, it's just seriously hilarious and almost annoying at the same time.
27,000 royalty payments were paid to 1,800 NIH employees. We know that not because you told us, but because we forced you to tell us through the Freedom of Information Act. Over $193 million was given to these 1,800 employees. Can you tell me that you have not received a royalty from any entity that you ever oversaw the distribution of money in research grants?
Well, first of all, let's talk about royalties.
That's the question. No, that's the question. Have you ever received a royalty payment from a company that you later oversaw money going to that company?
You know, I don't know as a fact, but I doubt it.
Well, here's the thing is, why don't you let us know? Why don't you reveal how much you've gotten and from what entities? The NIH refuses. Look, we ask them. The NIH, we ask them whether or not, who got it and how much. They refuse to tell us. They sent it redacted. Here's what I want to know. It's not just about you. Everybody on the vaccine committee, have any of them ever received money from the people who make vaccines? Can you tell me that? Can you tell me if anybody on the vaccine approval committees ever received any money from people who make the vaccines?
Soundbite number one, are you going to let me answer a question? Okay, so let me give you some information. First of all, according to the regulations, people who receive royalties are not required to divulge them, even on their financial statement, according to the Bayh-Dole Act.
Just once, I want to hear a straight answer from these people. I mean, just once. I'm not asking for too much here, am I? And Fauci says that they're not required to divulge royalties. Hello? I mean, like, am I the only one who caught that? Because that sounds like a freaking yes to me. You know what? If you think that this was basically him saying yes, he did receive money, comment yes down below. And if not, go ahead and comment no, all right? And while you guys are at it, go ahead and give this video a like and also subscribe to the channel too. I can already tell that this message may be held back for one reason or another. I appreciate you guys. Now, going back to this entire deal here. Well, a watchdog group called Open the Books got NIH's secret third-party royalty database. How cool is that group's name, huh? And it's fitting. Don't you guys think that the government should open the books like when it comes to what happens with our money too? So get this, guys. The group asked for different things like employment contracts, conflicts of interest, and other documents to confirm if anything, heinous was going on. Do you think they found anything? Well, if you base it on Dr. Fauci's answer to Senator Rand Paul, you would think that, nah, Fauci would never do such a thing. And heck, this is where things get really, really interesting. He was among the employees who received money between September 2009 to October 2020, with several of those royalties coming in from companies that in turn received federal contracts and grants. Former NIH Director Francis Collins, for example, got payments from around 4 different firms that have been awarded at least $50 million from, I gotta emphasize, our federal government ever since the year 2008. Now, here's a snippet, by the way, of companies that provided Fauci with royalties throughout the years. Although I'm guessing that this list isn't as complete as we would want it to be, but here goes. But Fauci's a good guy, right? In fact, he said that he donates all of his royalties to charity. And since he said that they're not required to divulge the royalties that they receive, we just have to believe him and take his word for it. But given that the royalties, which amounted to at least $325 million, by the way, came from Chinese and Russian entities along with different pharma companies, do you think that we're owed an explanation? Unredacted documents also show that NIH technologies, most of which were funded by our taxpayer money, okay? Unredacted documents show that at least 34 Chinese companies are licensing technologies from the NIH.
The NIH lets inventors take the first $2,000 collected from a licensee and then 15% of royalties above $2,000 and up to $50,000, and 25% of royalties in excess of the first $50,000 collected each year. There is a $150,000 cap on royalty payments for a calendar year. Republican Senator Rand Paul recently called on the Senate to force federal employees to disclose such royalties. But that bid was rejected in committee by Democrats, joined by Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski.
I mean, how are we supposed to feel about this, right? And here's something that's interesting, by the way. This came out almost a year ago, but I think it's very fitting that we talk about it right now.
Dr. Anthony Fauci's net worth soared during the pandemic. According to a report from OpenTheBooks.com, auditors at the site received Dr. Anthony Fauci's fiscal year 2021 financial disclosures from the National Institutes of Health. And it turns out the Fauci household disclosed net worth increased from $7.6 million as of January 2019 to just over $12.6 million in December 2021. Fauci remains the most highly compensated federal employee of all, earning $456,000 in 2021 and $480,000 in 2022. Even out-earning the President of the United States, 4-star generals, and roughly 4.3 million other federal bureaucrats.
U.S. Senator Roger Marshall previously forced open Dr. Anthony Fauci's unredacted 2019 and 2020 financial disclosures, to which America's top doc had this to say.
My financial disclosure is public knowledge and has been so for the last 37 years or so, 35 years that I've been director.
The big tech giants are doing an incredible job of keeping it from being public. We'll continue to look for it. Where would we find it?
All you have to do is ask for it. You're so misinformed. It's extraordinary.
Why am I
misinformed?
This is a huge issue. Wouldn't you agree with me that you see things before members of Congress would see them, so that there's an air of appearance that maybe some shenanigans are going on? You know, I don't think that's. I assume that's
Senator,
not the case.
What are you talking
it's
about?
Not the case.
My financial disclosures are public knowledge and have been so. You are getting amazingly wrong information.
Well, I guess it depends on how you define financial disclosure, Doc, because if we looked for your salary, that's easy to see, but royalties received from companies who may have profited off of you, well, that's going to be a little bit harder to find, don't you think? But let's just say that Fauci didn't make a cent on royalties, right? He still made $480,000 a year, guys, and he was that valuable to the NIH because he constantly made the money. I mean, let me remember this for a second. Moderna, you guys know Moderna, right? Well, do you remember that they paid $400 million to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases as catch-up payments for mRNA technology and the intellectual property rights to its vaccines? And who was the head of the NIAID until 2022? Oh yeah, that's right, Anthony freaking Fauci. And yeah, Moderna and other pharmaceutical companies, they're on the hook to provide royalties to the NIAID indefinitely as they continue to use and sell the C-19 vaccines. I mean, there's plenty of ways that I can look at this, but I would love to hear from you guys. Is this a non-issue, or is this something that a lot of people should know about? Make sure you guys comment down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate all the support. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one.